Once again, good evening. Welcome back. This is the Corundum Cat, and we are picking up once again, hopefully with, an actual stream behind me this time, with our fully voiced long play of Shadow Hearts 3 Shadow Hearts from the New World, being our 4th episode. No, hang on, is this thing working yet? As ever, we are experiencing moderate technical difficulties. I don't have my feed, and I don't have chat. Let me try one more thing here. I see people are joining, so, I hope there's a stream going on. And it was such a good spiel, too. Well, you know what? In the meantime, I encourage you to think of what is an appropriate appellation, because Giant Anthropomorphic Crime Cats is not going to do it. Okay, here we go. I don't know what was going on with OBS for me, but I had to start and launch a couple times to get my side of the stream up. Okay, there we go. I'm sure I'll forget to edit that out of the VOD for YouTube. Alright, we're picking up. It Old Chicago. Yes, the sign, so nice, they displaced the city multiple times. Okay, what was I saying? Episode 4, Shadow Hearts from the New World. Thank you for joining us, Almighty Tim. Always good to see you early on. And while we get the camera fixed seemingly every other week. Where were we last time? We visited Old Chicago. Not whatever Old Chicago is here in Times Square, but Chicago proper, after joining Shania and Natan on a vision quest, literally to the Grand Canyon, to pick up a new monstrous shape-shifting form for Shania. We were intercepted by Frank's ninja associates. Frank has ninja associates, his staff. They found us in the heart of the Grand Canyon, pointing out that though they had been driven out of Chicago by the Mafia, that Frank's master in Chicago could probably help us. All this to track down Professor Gilbert, because we think he might know what the deal is with Johnny's laser knife, and we're also concerned about him, making monsters in Arkham University's basement. In appropriate Mafia fashion, to get the information that we need from Frank's master, who is a giant anthropomorphic talking cat who runs organized crime in Chicago in Al Capone's absence, while he is a guest of the federal government, we have to break, obviously, Al Capone out of Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in San Francisco Bay. Complicating this matter while we were in Chicago, Al Capone's sister, Edna, who is having a torrid, forbidden romance with Ricardo, the mariachi, in the nightclub scene in the swinging city. She was abducted by the rival Northside McManus gang, the Irish mob, led by a man who is so much of a cultural stereotype that he was wearing the Irish flag as a suit. That ended in tragedy. She was shot, dumped out in the gutter to die before being rescued with very large asterisks afterwards by Lady, our mute, semi-villainous, antithetical party, infused with the pure, raw, and surprisingly healing power of concentrated negativity of malice, and I'm sure that's not going to be a complication in any right. So, a giant cat told us to declare war on the federal government. Obviously, we're going to Alcatraz prison. Oh, I think I solved that Sudoku puzzle 2 minutes after the previous stream ended, and I got Johnny's next upgrade. It's a vacuum cleaner. I'm carrying a vacuum cleaner in combat.
No, it stinks. Was this the only entrance?
Don't be such a baby. We are sneaking into the world's most secure prison. Surprisingly majestic, intact, and luxuriously spacious sewer tunnels for Alcatraz Island. I think just the fact that there's no risk to our lives is pretty good.
I get it, so let's move. Otherwise, I'm gonna barf.
Johnny gets younger every time I do his voice, and the whole rest of the party gets more, more fed up with him. I mean, I could squeeze through those bars. I'm like 6'3". I could get through those. What's Johnny's excuse? I'm really glad that they glossed over what would have otherwise been, kind of an important structural concern about how we get a mile and a half offshore in San Francisco without, any of the police boats or Harbor Watch noting that we were heading out to Alcatraz. I see a red valve and I just want to turn it. Go figure. I'm sure some plot stuff is going to happen to us. I have a lot to say about Alcatraz. Is it locked? Well, I guess that's to be expected.
So what are we gonna do? Can you open it?
Look, I'm sorry. We traveled all the way across... We came from Chicago. We traveled to San Francisco and are breaking into Alcatraz, and we are surprised that they locked the doors in a federal prison. This kind of old lock isn't anything to get worked up about. Move aside. Right, I can open this lock. I'll just need a key.
Oh, just like Master. You've already mastered the art of unlocking doors. My eyes are playing tricks on me. Did you just have a pouch in your belly? You just pulled the key from there?
Don't say such silly things. I'm not a kangaroo. If you're gonna be dumb, I'll just leave you here. The cat will get slightly more sinister every time she speaks. Only appropriate, what with her, running organized crime in Chicago. I can't tell if that scratchy sound effect is meant to be these terrible overhead, flickering lights, or if one of the sides of my headset is flaking out on me. I guess we'll find out as the interior changes. Why do they always paint hallways this color? I have literally been in this exact hallway in a couple of different federal buildings. Hang on. Now, I've never broken anyone out of Alcatraz, but if I was... Oh yeah, one guard. One on-patrol jailer. Hey, you there! What are you doing over there? I don't know why he's from Maine. Doesn't matter to me. It was Boston. I'm sorry. It was... Uh-oh! They found us! We didn't plan this at all! we just figured we'd walk in and catch them, I guess, not watching for people coming or going from the world's most secure prison.
Bring it on!
Alright, so now we're gonna fight the federal government. And, welcome TJ. Yeah, no, we've jumped up from, solving New York's, homeless problem manually, to open hostility against the government of the United States of America. Fortunately, I brought a vacuum. I don't actually need to use that. It's actually a very helpful tool for boss fights. Johnny just sucks the combo energy out of the enemy. Costs a whole lot of MP, but very, very, very worth it. If, for example, no one has you know, the stock spear to do a heavy attack to knock the candy out of them. In the meantime, I want to make sure that we have photographic evidence of our heist on Alcatraz, just so they can more easily tie me to the crimes. Johnny's going to snap some pictures.
Smile and say cheese.
And then Natana's going to have to go ham on people. That's fair. Oh, that's nice. All right, I like it. I like it. Anytime we can get off. Oh, they only have 30. These poor minimum wage employees only have 37 health. Let's see if we can adjust that number. Yeah, you're okay. You're seldom gonna find me likewise on the side of prison guards. Certainly in the 1920s, I would say that Alcatraz was a terrible place to get stationed as a guard, because here's the thing: they didn't commute. You lived on the island along with your family. They ate in the same mess and the same food as the inmates did. Little known fact, one of the many little known facts about Alcatraz, there was something like, I mean, there were about 1,200 inmates when it was actually at capacity, and I want to say there was close to like 400 civilians living on the island in like barracks and apartments, and it was the wives and children and family of the guards and the maintenance staff, who they were stuck on the rock as well. And we're federal prison. We are felons now. We are outlaws. We have murdered 5 penitentiary workers on Alcatraz. I'm excluding the guards. Yes. I don't actually know the number of the guards, but just like literally they weren't employees. It was just the family who were stuck out there because their husbands and their fathers and their brothers were the prison staff. Thought I heard something over here. Yeah, was it the gunfire? Was it all the gunfire and screaming that you heard? An intruder!
Whoa! There's more!
I feel like we could have gotten the Payday Gang to do this heist. There would have been more gunfire, but better planning. I feel like it was going to end in violence anyway, and that would have still been the better choice. Anyway, a quick reminder that laws are just threats of force made by the dominant socioeconomic group, and you want to make some bacon? Four down. And okay, yeah, we don't even need these special attacks to do basic guards here. So far, I think our heist on Alcatraz is going great. There definitely won't be any repercussions about this. Actually, I do want to point out. So last week's session, episode 3. I was like confused but confident that like, wait, the timeline seems wrong. It's 1927. Oh, phew. Maybe we should be more careful. Maybe we should have planned anything about this heist.
We should be all right now. From what I've heard, Capone's jail cell is just beyond here.
What cell block we in, Mao? Capone was in cell block C. Do you see lettering on the? Did we plan this at all? Is this Machine Gun Kelly? It isn't. Now here's something the other guards won't tell you. Oh, we got a seal of force. a thoroughly lobotomous Anton Chigurh with a side interest in... Man, if Johnny goes flipping coins and talking about having the one right tool for a job, then I'm gonna side with you on that. Notably, Capone did not get special treatment in his cell, unlike the prisons in Chicago. He's also considerably older and fatter when he was in Alcatraz. Biggest problem... Cutscene.
Chow time, Mr. Capone. Just put it down over there, okay? And leave when you're done. I can't eat in peace with other people watching me. Hey, man. What are you doing? Big underworld boss, Al Capone. Here's how they'll tell it. You tried to kill the guard and escape, but failed and got shot dead. Get it? So that's what they planned. Capone!
Yes. It looks like we're right on time.
Mao, thanks a lot, buddy. I owe you one.
This was easier than
What
expected.
was that kick technique?
The master is an expert. It's called Drunken Kung Fu or Drunken Fist.
Drunken fist? By a cat? Pretty impressive, Master Meow.
Master Meow, you say? That's a good one, Master Boy.
Capone! What was all that ruckus? Huh? Huh? Who are these people?
They're all my guests. By the way, could you please arrest this guy? The bum tried to shoot me dead, okay?
My God.
I'm not sure why Elliot Ness would have any pull over the federal prison system in
Something's
San
really
Francisco,
weird.
but
Let's go.
Wait, come back here. Capone! All of you!
Sorry, I gotta leave. You know, I could really use a drink. Later.
I mean, if that alarm isn't for us, I'm going to be very disappointed. Real quick, no, I was definitely like, confused about like, oh wait, what year is it? Capone wasn't arrested in, well, he was arrested plenty, but he wasn't sentenced to hard time for tax evasion until the 30s, and it's 27. So here's the funny thing: Alcatraz it was opened in 1850. Alcatraz Fort was built in 1850 on the island. It was a U.S. military. It was a coast fort. It was a border fort, and one of the many which, after the Civil War, got repurposed as military prisons in the short term for holding Confederate sympathizers. Fort Jefferson down in Florida, Fort Sumter following the reconquest of it as well. But it was officially a military prison in, gosh, I have to double check. I actually do have some jotted notes for dates. Yeah, 1910, 1912 was the then modern, U.S. military. And then it was shut down for 20 years, give or take. And Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary, Alcatraz Prison, was not opened until 1934. It was acquired by the Bureau of Corrections, I think, in 32 or 33. They had to spend a year at least renovating it from old military fort and 2 decades disused military prison into a, again, modern, there are quotes, because time has rolled inexorably forward, to be a prison. It's 1927. Alcatraz should be a dilapidated ruin without even a caretaking staff. It is not an in-service prison at this point. Not only was Al Capone not arrested until 31, Alcatraz wasn't opened until 34. So we are officially off the main timeline, and that has nothing at all to do with the large talking cat running organized crime in Chicago. Just tossing that out here. We've got to protect Capone now. I can't trust just the two of you boys. Guess I'll lend a hand.
Oh, nothing's as reassuring and searing as that Master Meow is going to fight with us.
Beat his ass, Mao.
I don't remember saying that you could call me Master Meow. I won't let you call me that again.
Here we are in time-traveling super prison, Alcatraz. Not sure what's happening here. Don't think I want to know. Oh, okay, we got the team switch. He's in battle team, you can decide the battle. Yeah. No, I remember it. I remember it from the last game. All I need. Looks like we are required to... Okay, yeah. We are required to have Mao while we are doing Capone's thing. Yeah, this is how it starts. We want to have Johnny. We want to have Shania, and Frank is to... Do I want Natan or do I want Frank? I want both of them. No. Previous playthrough, I was extremely Frank heavy, and Natan got benched all the time, until at least while I had to use map. I'm gonna give it to Natan. Frank can sit and think about what he's done, murdering federal corrections officers, and yeah, this will be good. This will be good. That does mean that I want to take Frank's coral and give it to Mao so that I don't get immediately punked by the Judgment Ring. And okay, nothing else to change there. What do we got for... Did we give Frank an extra attack? Oh, Frank started with 3. Okay, doesn't look like we can. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And we'll figure out Mao's. Oh, wait, one more thing. God, so many submenus. What do we have for charts? Mao's Capricorn. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Why wouldn't it? Okay, we'll dig in deeper than that once we inevitably, carve a bloody swath through apparently super prison. Time prison. Okay, can we just go back out the way we came in? It seems... I mean... Why wouldn't we try this?
Wait, before we leave, let's try to find the cause of the trouble.
Why? Shania, we know why there's an alarm. It's because of us.
Come on.
Okay, well, we had an easy solution, best possible, for how we were going to get out of here, whilst minimizing the number of hardworking federales that were going to be cut down behind us. But Shania thirsts for violence, and I can't necessarily blame her, given certain history involving the First Peoples and the federal government. What do we got? Okay, big air combo, Red Nova, Hail Dust. Oh, that's a good pattern. Try that out. That's a nightmare face.
I receive the glory of the victor while undertaking the work of the hunter.
Oh yeah, Johnny being like, yeah, smile and say cheese, whilst planning deliberate, merciless violence against against both the itinerant and working classes. Johnny, bourgeois tool. What can I say? when the revolution already happened, he somehow wasn't first against the wall. There's a reason he couldn't be in Covenant. Okay. Really? We're just leaving Elliot Ness in Al Capone's luxury jail cell. Yeah. Capone did not have luxury accommodations in Alcatraz. Yep. They're always hiding the treasure chest with the camera. But yeah, that was like one of the reasons that they went through the hassle and the great expense of having Alcatraz prison reopened for all of the mobsters from the late 20s and the early 30s. Was that it was basically it was a hellhole and very hard to get to. The books, while not accurate that he would have this fancy bespoke bookshelf, that's actually surprisingly true. Alcatraz had very few amenities for the prisoners, but they had an exceptionally well-stocked prison library, mostly left over from when it was a U.S. military prison. As part of the reform program, they encouraged reading. Heavily censored, weirdly like puritanical, but still, you know, one of the few things you could do other than, oh, why are there Gribblies? This escalated quickly. Okay, you know what? I can admit when I've made a mistake. I'm not certain that the alarm is only because of us. Let's snap a quick picture. Again, playing tourist, even in the worst times.
Look over here. Smile and say cheese.
Oh, I missed the tail mouth. Oh, the mouth on the bottom of the tail. It's so bad. This is a Gribbly monster. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, as far as these things go, it terrifies me and I want nothing to do with it. That's the mark of good creature design. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Al Capone briefly. We're going to come back to talking about Alcatraz. Rap so hard, call him Al Dente. Not my line, but thank ERB. Did she have... Yeah, we got a line. Line is not long enough to hit both of them. That's a shame. What if... Fine, we'll do it with skin. Well, claws. That's not so bad. That's not great. Okay, I'm immediately like, show me your war face, and Shania being like, it's like, you don't scare me. Work on it.
What were those beasts doing in a place like this? Someone summoned it here. It's gotta be the reason for all this commotion, too.
Yeah, you sure it's not breaking public enemy number 1 out of prison? No? That one's just sliding? No traction on that?
My brother, where is he? Al?
I appreciate that no one in the narrative has like has travel time in a meaningful capacity. Also, y'all got turned into a monster murder revenant. Why would you be like, oh, I need to get my brother? It's like, dude, wipe out the McManus gang. Come on. Smith the Swindler is in the middle of crafting a secret plan. Pretty sure that's a reference to the Birdman of Alcatraz. And incredible abs on the Cosmic Horror. What else we got? The hits keep coming. Oh, creepy baby dolls, creepy winged babies, and a womp. Alright, you know what? It got weird. That's... What you got, creepy baby dolls? Got the one. It really didn't. Kind of only grazed the others. That's not ideal. I think. Yeah, rapid shot only hits ground. That won't do it. Natan is going to cast gun. It's super effective. I'm more concerned about what the Womp is capable of.
Okay, look over here. Smile and say cheese.
Oh, God. It goes Womp. That's what it does. It Womps us. They put the name right on the label, and we flew too close to the sun. Only 80 health, that's not so bad. Check out the Chomp Chomp.
Okay, look over here. Smile and say cheese.
Johnny all like, yo, what's the most you ever lost on a coin toss? Reminds them they've been putting it up their whole life. Okay. Oh, Natan lost all his stock. Alright, well, some basic attacks to get him back in the combo game.
You can hate me if you want, and your own luck too.
I'm not sure what she's posturing. We're fighting monsters in prison. Chan-chan could mean a little repeated thing like the double quotes that modify some Japanese characters, and stroke, or it could also mean something hoppity. They feel hoppity, right? Like they're flying, but if I had to describe any of the creatures we've encountered as hoppity, they would be, you know, closer than most. It's not that I botched anything. I just came to miraculously break out of the tightest prison in the world. I've been in 5 years already, though. Suggesting that Alcatraz prison was opened in 1922. It wasn't. It was opened in 1934. That's gonna be bothering me the whole time that we're here. Always hiding things with the camera. So not gonna go super heavy into facts about Al Capone. There's so much American myth and media already about that particular gentleman.
I'll take you out.
Like it's 27. He was actually running Chicago at this time. Came over from New York as a late teenager. Worked for John Torrio, who's the boss of the city in the burgeoning Chicago outfit. Torrio retires amicably after surviving an assassination from the North Side gang. Capone takes over, is fabulously wealthy due to bootlegging, which is where most of the income comes from, though of course it's the mob. They're involved in all manner of nefarious deeds. And has for much of the 20s, he's your jovial uncle, if you happen to be a Chicago native. He gets standing ovations when he goes to Cubs games. Starts his own milk company for money laundering and tax evasion, but also so that, kids in Chicago schools can get quality milk. And, opens a lot of soup kitchens. There's a very good episode of Tasting History with Max Miller about Al Capone's soup. And this is none of this is done because of genuine altruism. He's a ruthless, organized crime figure, and they have an interest in ingratiating themselves in their own communities. Don't crap where you eat, basically. At the end of the day, and he's a savvy businessman. Public opinion of Capone in Chicago changes in 1929 with the famously the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where Capone has possibly real, possibly fake police. It says something about the amount of money that he is pouring into the Chicago Police Department that it might have been real cops on his payroll. Round up 7 gang members from the North Side crews, and in what is a pretty common thing for the wildly corrupt Chicago police forces, like they get the mob guys together and it's a shakedown, right? They're going to steal some booze and you're gonna pay them off. And in this case, they put them all in a warehouse, corrugated metal wall, and then murdered them with Tommy guns. And reports are, it's like, mob guys came in afterwards, and some tellings of it, it was the cops themselves. It was a daylight mass murder of 7 underworld figures. And even though there'd been a great deal of violence in the in the mob war in Chicago up to that point, that was kind of like an escalation. And though Capone liked to brag about he loved to brag about his crimes. Sociopaths generally do. He never took credit for this one because it was a mass murder, and joked it's like, it was definitely the North Side guys that did it, even though it was their guys who got shot. I should pay more attention to what he said. What was that? Evan, who misses the city. The worst thing since I came here, the forced labor, food, guards. Nope. Worst things here and the outside. How surprisingly poignant. And good commentary on the carceral prison system. There was a great deal of forced labor at Alcatraz. And a lot of it. Not something that is usually known for in pop culture, but yeah, that was a thing. Anyway, Capone kills a bunch of people. Obviously, he's the one who profited from it. Peck the supplier says, my makeup's not going on well today. Why do I have makeup in prison? Teehee, because I'm a supplier. I don't know what that means.
Let's go.
I don't follow. Perhaps I don't want to. Let's get some combo action. What can we do to add a little pizzazz? Yeah. Ooh, actually, what we got for his stellars? Can we get? All right, we can't get both of the chan-chans. That's fine. Let's do a good old fashioned combo. I don't like that womp. Its smug aura mocks me. Hey, we checking Peck's flower pots. Oh, really? Those things aren't that... But that... Okay, I've played enough Warhammer. I can tell you that those bases are touching, sir. That effect will hit both of them. Fine. We'll just use the laser sword. Try to be civilized about this. Corrals, I don't like that at all. But yeah, no. After St. Valentine's Day, the federal government, the Bureau of Investigation, takes a much closer look at the Chicago outfit because they've gone up from regular gang violence to brazen daylight mass murder. This is really going to be the start for the next couple of years of basically the feds just looking at like, okay, how can we get him home? Because he is popular in his hometown, people are scared of him, or they admire him. It's more scared and outraged after Valentine's Day, but still. And local judges and local law enforcement are basically his payroll entirely. And, of course, famously, they came up with, well, tax evasion. We don't, we can't prove that his illegal revenue comes from, bootlegging and all manner of crime extortion. It does. But, we can still say you didn't... Regardless of where the money came from, you needed to pay taxes on it, and that's how they get into prison. He is a guest of the government in Illinois' federal pen for a few years. When Alcatraz is open, he's transferred there. Alcatraz is the prison of last resort in the terminology of the day. In the slightly, I don't know if puritanical is the right word, but the ultimately misguided belief that harsher punishment conditions will lead to less recidivism. That is your big ticket dictionary word for the day of repeat criminality, and that's not how the human condition works. You can look at any history of crime and punishment in any nation. Severe punishments do not deter crime. They occasionally make criminals more creative or more ruthless and determined not to leave witnesses. But that's about it. So yeah, no, this is a ill-fated idea from the get-go. But what do you want from the government of the 1930s? Also, man, 4 health. I just can't seem to get a knockout on these. Well, again, let's get rid of the womp. So much wasted damage potential. Oh, I hate its floppy little hands. Okay, you know what? No, check that. It's kind of growing on me. It's like an angry Thanksgiving turkey that we're fighting, and I don't hate it. I don't like it, but I don't hate it. Alright, Johnny with the cleanup, good enough. But yeah, other than like, oh, it's a really harsh, scary prison, it will definitely keep hardened bootleggers and mobland figures from wanting to do crime after they have lived like sultans off of the profits of bootlegging for over a decade, which now Prohibition has finally ended in 31. Alcatraz opened up in 34. Organized crime branches out, mostly into heroin, to replace that fantastic revenue stream, which they lost with the end of Prohibition. Check the prison commissary. Check the prison commissary for judgment room upgrades. Way smaller than the actual dining hall in any of the cell blocks of Alcatraz. Spikes? I like spikes. I want spikes. What are spikes? I guess everyone's full already. What are spikes? Oh, we got an anti-paralysis. I'm probably going to want to give that to somebody. Oh, prevents stock attacks, but SP... Oh, ooh. That's going to be useful to keep in the back pocket for, like, solo fights with Mao and Shania for some of their personal quests. Otherwise, that's really risky. We ain't got a huge amount of spare soul points this early on. We can, in fact, thank Bayer for heroin originally. Much safer than Tylenol. However, I'm told that acetaminophen does not, in fact, have any causal link to childhood autism. Because come on, man, really?
What's with this door? What's wrong with it?
Let's find another. What other way? Alcatraz did have metal detectors. Believe it or not, they weren't installed mid-cell block. If you were in the middle of the cell block, it was assumed you were supposed to be there. But the facility did have some of the earliest integration of metal detectors as a, ultra modern prison with its renovations. Piece on God. I'm still building. Wait, what? Oh, I pressed the wrong button. I did not mean to flee from that fight. I was reading my chat. Also, hi Doc, welcome. Tylenol is now considered a controlled substance. I'll evade some taxes, whatever. We do a lot of bootlegging here on this channel. I'm admitting to nothing. You can't prove it. Okay, was there another way out of the... Okay, that's a... Well, unless, yeah, okay, so... We don't really have another way to get out on the map. There aren't any other doors. There's the save point where we left Elliot Ness. There's the entrance where we came in, which... they didn't want to let us use to leave. That's fine. I wonder if any of the... This is what we get for running from the previous fight. We get surrounded. And possibly blanked by Gribblies. Yeah, how we doing? Okay, yeah, that's great. That's great. Okay, cure. We put the blood back into Mao. I like that she takes a swig. That's a nice touch. How much stock we got? We're gonna double combo, and we are gonna get some of these things off the field. I hope I can get it with the first, because that spell will take out another enemy entirely. Okay, get it, Rod. Okay, well, it would have taken out the other Chan-Chan. That's fine. With Johnny, we're going to do a regular combo. I think we can finish that thing off. Now I am not an authority on heroin, other than its historic impact in criminal economies. I can say that morphine ain't shit. Just one guy's opinion. Don't whomp me, bro. Ooh! Okay, she's on death's door with no stock, but that's fine. We've had worse. I said don't whomp me, and it whomped me. You know, can't rely on any Gribbly these days. But yeah, no, I was talking about Alcatraz about the 10th century. Yeah.
Just because I'm a cat.
Having a harsh prison does not deter crime. Anyway, long and short, public execution of pickpockets does not keep people from pickpocketing at public executions, right? This is a truism. Anyway, Alcatraz is still like, yeah, it's famously inescapable. There are no confirmed survived attempts. And a lot of it comes down to the fact that it's an island. It's an island that does not have regular traffic. Again, the guards, their families, the maintenance staff all live on the island, so you do not have constant ferry traffic. It's only like supply runs, and those have armed guards in large numbers. So, I mean, you know, system works pretty well. You know, instead of burning through all those Theras, when I get out of the kitchen, I think I'm going to go back to Capone's cell and just use a tent. And probably talk to the inmates again? Yeah, there we go. I was going to say, someone has to have something to disable the metal detector.
Hey, having a rough time, are ya? Mind your own business.
What, Johnny? He's in the cell, man. Cut him some slack. What else is he doing?
Don't brush me off like that, man. Especially since I've got something interesting information for you.
Some interesting information. Something. I've done that.
Information? Well, that door over there, it's got a metal detector. It won't let people carrying dangerous items pass. You're the intruders, right? Carrying lots of vicious items.
I mean, guns, hatchets, knives, a cactus and a stick.
Don't scowl like that. It's just a machine, after all. It's easy to fool.
We could push our weapons through the giant open slates on the barred wall and pick them up on the other side. We could do that. If you're up knives and unnatural toys and insulating sheet, you should be able to get through. Where am I supposed to get that? Just a second, I have something here. I mean, look at him, a 15-year veteran of... No, you're not a 15-year veteran of this jail. It's 1927. Alcatraz was not open in 1912. It was still a military prison.
What are your terms? You want help breaking free?
Now you're talking.
Something like that, but now's not good. I gotta get the timing right.
Yeah, you want to stay in your cell and be killed by monsters, whatever. I can bust out of here on my own. You gotta bring me a spoon from the cafeteria. Shouldn't disrespect the spoon. The spoon is notorious for jailbreaks. Bring me one, I'll trade in some. Alright, let's go use that save point. Let's use a tent. We're just going to camp out with Elliot Ness for a little while. And then we will go back to the cafeteria, get him a spoon. I don't know why we couldn't just, like, take the bedsheet here, whatever. You know what? Not my job. This is a badly planned prison break. Wasn't me planning it, tell you that much. But, yeah, so for all of the pomp of Alcatraz, it never earned its points back, right? It was literally 3 times more expensive, over like 3.5 times more expensive per head for the prisoners than any other prison in the country, because it was an island.
The anger of the heavens.
The guards did not particularly like being stationed on Alcatraz because the pay was not measurably better than anywhere else, and their whole family was stuck out there with them. Yeah, it was a rough place. And okay, yes, it kept people from escaping, but like, so do walls. Yeah, it closes in. It's open for a long time. It closed in '63. As it's just, yeah, you know, the money is better spent elsewhere, according to the Bureau of Corrections, and they're not wrong about that one. There was mention of forced labor from the one prisoner. That's true. There was, particularly leading up to and during World War II, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was one of the Army contracts for prison labor. And they produced lots and lots and lots of GI uniforms and things like cargo netting, like stitched canvas tarpaulins, the kind of generic like base supplies, military supplies. Anything that was cloth or canvas was mostly done in prison labor. They saved, you know, talented work, paying work for more delicate things, for the most part. And also, I guess you don't want prisoners working with munitions as a rule. A rule that the Nazis did not abide, but it was the Nazis and they're dumb as hell. But yeah, so a lot of prison labor, not enough to justify the cost of the very ostentatiously expensive prison for what it is. And yeah, closed down. Now here's where the story gets interesting. Not because there's a giant crime cat, but you're not wrong.
Don't ever let me see you again.
In this picture, right there, ignore the giant cat, we have Native American warriors and a shiftless, you know, dead-eyed photographer, Private Eye from New York, breaking into, assaulting Alcatraz Island. What would your reaction be, chat, if I told you that is the most historically accurate thing that has happened in this episode? Oh, look at that spoon. It's gleaming. It's a jailbreak spoon. It's not a regular spoon. That's a special spoon. Alright, buddy, here's your spoon. Give me the tarp. Or I will cut your heart out with the spoon. I'm going to stay quiet. If you need any more help, swing by again. These walls are funny. First you hate them, then you come to rely on them. I'm not going to keep doing Shawshank impressions. My history is weird. Well, Shadow Hearts is weird. So, let's take a brief detour to see what they have hidden by the camera here. I love me some Thera-leaves. And while we're focusing, we have our episode focusing on Alcatraz and Al Capone and organized crime in Chicago. So, let me take a moment to wind the clock back and tell you about the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. After I beat up this Gribbly with a drunken cat, like you do. Shania can have a little fusion, you know. It's a little salami, right? Cats can have a little salami. So, mostly I want the extra cutscene to talk about that. Yeah, 1868, Treaty of Fort Laramie. This is one of the, well, probably the largest scale at the time of the deeply unequal, almost comically poorly enforced and neglected by the United States federal government treaties with the native tribes. Specifically, mostly the Sioux, in this case, setting up their reservation lands, and there are a whole bunch of stipulations. Fort Laramie is where it is signed. It's meant to end border hostility between the tribes and white settlers. Now, there's like 17 provisions of laying out like the responsibilities of law enforcement and borders, and what requirements does the federal government have for setting up reservations, and what territory would be left for the tribes to manage on their own. And here's a hint: it's going to be ignored basically as soon as the ink's dried. That's how this went, right? That's not news. That's not the funny part. That's tragic. Yeah. So, and it is hardly going to be the only one of the federal treaties that are. Oh my goodness! Wait, did they lock up Gerard? Oh no! they put his motorcycle in a separate cell. Jerry's and Jam getting. I'll buy something, sure. Oh wait, no, that's the charts. Wow, this prison does not have a strict dress code. I was selling some prohibited stuff. I got arrested. Apparently, there was no trial, and they put them in for vending without a license. They put them in with Murderers Row here in Alcatraz. Who knew? Sharing a cell block with Capone. What do you got? Well, we might be stuck in here for a while, so we're going to want some more mana leaves. I'm always worried about running those. We've got tents. Not selling any new weapons necessarily. I can hold off on. I have a feeling I'm going to want more anti-paralysis, but I'll risk it. Let's pick up a couple more soul benedictions just in case we have to do some emergency healing, and let's get that discount. Yeah, all right. We're good customers. We're not going to let him out of prison, but we're good customers. Wake up! Drowsy Earhart. The guards aren't doing their job. We killed the guards! That's our fault. I don't know if we'll need who's on the second floor. Let's just keep scouting around cell block D here. Oh, that's a body. That's just a body in that cell.
Can I get a little service here?
Oh, God. I gotta see if we can upgrade. With the upgrades that we can buy to the casting charts, I gotta see if we can get like bigger area of effect for the stellars, because that would be just far and away the most useful. Anyway, Treaty of Fort Laramie. It's not honored. It's ignored. That's how this goes. But now, here's the funny thing. It is still on the books. The federal government just ignores it. But whatever. And it stays on the books, as do a lot of forgotten laws and things. And this becomes relevant because one of the provisos, one of the terms in the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie is pertaining to the federal use of native lands. Specifically, the federal government has a right to take native lands for their own purpose, which technically is true of any land, eminent domains thing. Now, the proviso included in the treaty, which at the time was never meant to be honored, but it remained on the books, was that when the federal government was finished with those lands, any lands that were declared surplus federal land, that is to say, they simply didn't need them anymore. Frightened Uso, not useful to us. any of those lands would be returned to the tribes which historically had held them. And this was not something that they probably planned on ever doing. But, again, still on the books. So, Alcatraz closes in 1963. The federal government does not do anything with the land for several years. It is declared surplus federal land. It is not opened up as a museum yet. That's in the 70s. It's not a national park yet. That's also in the 70s. It is declared surplus federal land. The American Indian tribes of the 1960s declare that because Alcatraz Island was tribal land before it was claimed by the Army in 1850 to build Fort Alcatraz, under the stipulations of the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie, which postdated that, that it reverts to tribal control. And ooh, that's a saucy cast. Oh, right, it's all of them. Yeah, clear up most. And this is like, it seems like it's going to be treated as a meme at the time. Like, oh, ha ha ha! They're saying they own Alcatraz. And then a bunch of Native activists and students and scholars forming the protest group, the IAT, the Indians of All Tribes, their terminology, up to date, in 1969, occupied Alcatraz Island against the will of the federal government and the United States Coast Guard. They put together a flotilla of canoes, rowboats, small sailing ships in San Francisco Bay, sailed out to the island. A bunch of them got ashore, said, hey, yo, treaty is quite clear. The land is disused. It was tribal land. We are the representatives of the modern-day tribes. It's ours now. And they occupy Alcatraz Island. Several dozen native families from different tribes, led by Richard Oakes of Mohawk descent, who is a activist and scholar of the time. He's sort of the face of the movement. His second in command is the fantastically named Laedna Warjack. I love, Lynetta Warjack of the Shoshone. And they say, yeah, no, it's legally, because the treaty was never amended or nullified, we have every right to occupy this land and take it back. And now, partly because it's 1969 going into 1970, the federal government has plenty of other civil unrest that it is worrying about, which is larger scale, better organized. But also because, like, federal lawyers definitely, like, looked at this claim, and there was somebody who sent a memo to his boss, like, okay, they're not wrong. So they didn't want like a big armed confrontation with these demonstrators. But there ends up being like 400 some of these occupiers of the IAT who end up just camping out, and yeah, they plant crops. They bring, you know, a small amount of farm equipment, some generators, and they live on Alcatraz for like 19 months as part of this growing student and civil demonstration. It's entirely peaceful. There is no, they're not exchanging shots with the federal, you know, with the Coast Guard. Eventually, the government just kind of, well, I'd say it forgets about them. That doesn't happen. But they stop actively, like, trying to prevent vessels from getting out to the island, because that's just drawing more attention to something which is kind of embarrassing for the federal government. And yeah, there's celebrities get involved. Marlon Brando, who is has an activist streak at the time, goes out and spends some time living on Alcatraz. Lynetta Warhawk is a correspondent of Jane Fonda, who is in her famously active, anti-war activist phase at this time, and they draft proposals for federal grants, again in keeping with the modern day treaty restrictions and reservation system, saying that this is effectively a federal reservation, or excuse me, a native reservation which has been neglected by the federal government. So they write about a $400,000 grant to create a pan-tribal cultural center, a unified cultural heritage center of the IAT on Alcatraz Island, and that is this is a media circus in the days before the internet, and it's relatively popular, right? Because it is nonviolent, because it is such a cheeky thing, and because again it is technically entirely legal, and the occupation goes on till 1971, and it runs down. The city of San Francisco, shortly into the occupation, cuts off electricity via undersea cable to Alcatraz Island. They cut off the fresh water to make it difficult to live there. And in 71, there is a mysterious, in quotes, fire, mentioning that in addition to the cell blocks, there were barracks and apartments for all of the guards, the staff, and their families. And those apartment blocks were mostly where the occupiers were inhabiting. They were the most intact, and they weren't concrete prison cells, right? Yo, are we stealing from the armory? Okay, why do they have Pure Leaf in the armory? Give me some Tommy guns. I know they got Tommy guns. And Remingtons. Give me a Remington. Give me a trench gun. We'll show those Gribblies who's boss. Here's a hint. It's John Moses Browning. Two treasure chests next to each other. This is going to be dangerous for us. A free tent. Okay, obviously there are boss fights coming up. I can hear something from over there. Over there means outside. Hey, quick, open it. Hold on. It won't open. Yes, it's a prison. Johnny, you're not supposed to be able to open the doors. It appears to be an electric door. Could it be that the power is cut? I was just talking about cutting the power to Alcatraz. Wow, you got a good eye. The breakers probably tripped with all the commotion. I wonder if there's a control room. We were just in a control room. It's literally right next door, Mao. Dee Mao. But yeah, so the IAT occupiers on Alcatraz Island, after almost 2 years of inhabiting the land, their barracks, the apartment block, burns down in a mysterious fire after fresh water and power have been cut to the island. Mysterious, I say, because the FBI definitely had part of COINTELPRO, which I could do a whole episode on. Basically, the FBI infiltrated, sabotaged, framed, and outright assassinated civil rights workers throughout the 60s and 70s. That's COINTELPRO. And while most famously that was targeted at the, mainstream civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., etc., they also targeted the IAT and Native activist groups because it's the FBI. And the suspicion is that again, nothing proven, but it seems reasonably likely that the mysterious fire, which causes the bulk of these occupying activists to leave, Alcatraz, it was the FBI. It was almost certainly COINTELPRO, starting some fires, burning the place down. Can't be proven. Seems very likely, very on brand for that time in history. But yeah, most of the activists at this point they disperse. They catch boats back to San Francisco at large. Go wherever. There's a few families. I think about 30 people actually stay on. Just like, hey, whatever. It's no worse than most of the reservations that we've lived on, and decide to stick it out, and are only there for a short period of time before federal authorities come in, and they're not arrested. Surprisingly, they are escorted off the island. They set them up in a hotel in San Francisco for a short period of time before sent them on their way. But all of that is to say that in the time between Alcatraz being an active prison and the time when it is a national park, Alcatraz Island is invaded and occupied by Native Americans. So Shania and Natan here are just ahead of the curve. Granted, the IAT killed a lot fewer people than we have done so far in our prison break, but, can't make an omelet.
Don't ever let me see you again.
Okay. Here's a breaker panel. This better not be a puzzle. Looks like we found it. All of the prison's power is controlled from here. We have ultimate power, that's right. Which one? Whoa! All the breakers are blown! All of them? Why are the lights on, Johnny?
There's so many switches, I don't know which one to reset. You can try whatever, but maybe it'd be faster if we found someone who knows about this.
Oh! Go! I'm not angry. I'm just angry. Okay, well, of the eclectic mix of personalities in the northern cell block, was any of them an electrician? Did they have breakers and not, like, fuses? Well, when the prison was built was 1850, so no. And it's hard for me to speak about its renovation into a modern prison because that happened 6 years after its happening in-game. 33 and it's 27. That said, in the 1930s, Alcatraz was hyper-modern, so they could very well have had proper electrical breakers at that time, but I actually don't know. I'd have to do some technology hunting. I can't imagine the Majamel boys know about Alcatraz's electrical system, but let's try some of the other inmates. Hey, you an electrician? It's goodbye to this prison pretty soon. Keep it a secret from guards. I guess there's that one guy down on the bottom. I'll catch up with him.
I'll take you out.
Monsters, I just want you to be slightly closer together. Is that too much to ask for? Covenant, they were always, like, just hugging each other. Oh, he should be able to finish off the WOM. reverse waft. Okay. I'll take the... Oh! 100% perfect. Got a little extra cash. I'll take that. Frank leveling up in reserve. Glad he's on the... Hey, wake up! Drowsy Earhart. Still not an electrician. Okay, okay. Well, no one on this side. What about the other... Oh, no. Straight up no one up here. Alright, we'll try the other block. Is there anyone in the middle before I forget about them? Does not look like it. Which we'd be paying the random encounter tax the whole time. I actually agree with Shania. That was, in fact, a waste of time. But you know what? We're doing it for the XP. We're here for the love of the game. And a love of trivia. Oh my... It's like we wandered back into Skies of Arcadia. This is an aggressive random encounter raid. You know, not gonna lie, not to harp too much on the old projects. We did some jailbreaks in Skies of Arcadia. They were better planned than this. Just saying. Ooh, that's super effective. I gotta remember that one. Yeah, no, TJ, that's what I'm saying. That was my commentary. Like, even if we flew to San Francisco from Chicago, we still had like 2 days to plan this. If we walked here, like how we got to the Grand Canyon, then we had weeks to think about, like, man, what do we do when we get to Alcatraz? And we obviously did no planning because we were surprised to find that there were locked doors inside the prison. Okay, you know what? I got a good feeling. That guy on the second floor here, he looks like an electrician. I know an electrician when I see one. He doesn't want to talk to anyone. When I was a kid, my gramps told me this prison used to be Fort. Correct, easygoing Haddis. I was just telling the people. But never thought it'd be put in here, didn't even dream about it. You ain't an electrician. You ain't an electrician at all. Nor, I assume, a daisy. Oh, Johnny's out of MP. Can I get another... Oh, I can get another turn in, yeah. Before the baddies, if I use this. We'll do that.
Here we go.
That's juice. Okay, that's this juicy from Tan. Give us a good opener, my boy. It's not bad. It's not bad. We fear no womp. Let's get rid of that thing.
Just as rocks become sand and ice becomes water, so do warriors become wind.
Okay, well, you know what? That man, that's not an electrician. I know an electrician when I see one, and him, a pretender to the throne at best. Man, it's back in the other half of the cell block. Okay. If this is a head fake and it's like, oh, you just have to try fuses until you get it right, I'm gonna stab somebody. I'm gonna let Johnny stab somebody. You know what? We're gonna check with the first guy, the guy who's been here for 15 years. Maybe he charted out the electrical system in preparation for his own escape attempt. So what, if anything, did The Rock, the film, seminal Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery action movie, one of the defining features of the 90s, get right about Alcatraz? More than... Okay, more than some films, less than So I Married an Axe Murderer. But, yeah, okay, well, it's been a while since I've seen The Rock. There is not a magic smoke and fire machine that is a secret entrance to Alcatraz. That is not accurate. There are, I don't believe there are even like tidal access tunnels to San Francisco Bay. That seems like a glaring security weakness. There's a comment from Sean Connery's character, Mason, I think? Yeah, that's the name. That when he was a guest of that prison, the inmates were not allowed to speak. And it's like, oh, I was thinking how pleasant it was when the inmates weren't allowed to speak. I was not prepared to do a Sean Connery impression tonight. I've been doing too many other voices. Throat's already scratchy. But, firstly, my dude. Oh, jeez. More fights. And there were don't ask me for their names. There were while it was open, there were 4 different wardens of Alcatraz in the 30 years that the prison was open. And the first and the second were the ones who were like most famously the rough disciplinarians. The first warden was actually relatively well regarded, I want to say, by both inmates and staff. And it was the second guy, again, whose name escapes me, was, I think his nickname was the Cowboy, because he thought he was, an old-timey sheriff. And I believe it was under his tenure, the second warden of the prison, inmates were not allowed to speak in the mess hall. And most prisons have restrictions on how much crosstalk you can have between cells during the day. That's not unusual. In the specific case of Alcatraz, during you were allowed to eat as much as you wanted, as long as you cleaned your plate. That was policy, because food was one of the few amusements that the prisoners had. And again, the prisons where the guards eat the same food in the same space as the prisoners. Looking at you, San Quentin. Looking at you, Alcatraz. Will tend to have better food. Alcatraz is one of those cases. Prisoners could eat as much as they wanted as long as they did it in regular time and they didn't leave waste food on their plates. During that warden's tenure, prisoners were not allowed to speak during meals, which was considered that was a dick move, right? Like, that was needlessly cruel. So that was true. The Rock got that correct, if slightly misphrased. Real quick, Smith the Swindler, you're back, and looks at the breakers below, and you can't get out of here, right? You could have told us this ahead of time, Smith. I just do. I know that's what's being a 15-year veteran.
So what's the deal? Do you know how to reset the switches? Stealing people's lines.
Well, of course I know, but this info doesn't come for free. Do you want another spoon, buddy? It's nothing hard. I got a message for Murdoch. He's in the right cell block, second floor. Tell him we carry out the plan in 5 days. Oh, he's the guy above you, yeah. I'm going to trust you, kid, and I'll tell you about the breakers first, so listen. To the right of the breaker switches, there should be numbers on each line. Take notes, chat. Those indicate the correct amount of amps. Each of the breaker switches is set for... Oh, it's another math puzzle. The stabbings are going to commence. You heard it here first. Okay, I got to write this down. Breakers 1 through 6. Amp limit on right. Are they in serial or parallel, my dude? That's resistance, not amperage. The total amps designated by the switches should be the same as the numbers written on the right. You got it. Ask Murdoch about the amps for each switch, and don't forget my message. I mean, we may as well facilitate another prison break. We're already here. Oh, that's Cronol. What else? What else? The topography of... I mean, okay, I guess that's low-hanging fruit because much of the film was, like, actually filmed on location at Alcatraz National Park. The placement of the... I mean, well, okay, yeah, they use the actual place. They don't get credit for that. I was going to say, you know, the lighthouses are in the correct configuration. They cite the cell blocks, I believe, accurately, but I would have to rewatch the movie for that. That's what comes to mind. These prisoners have 12 meat sticks, yes. We're going to do this Da Vinci Code stuff. I'm going to find Professor Layton. I'm going to stab him. I'm going to put him in one of these cells. I'm going to leave him for Edna Capone. Okay, there's Murdoch on the other side. Wait, he said he was on... This is the right cell block. Don't tell me I don't know my right from my left, game. That's an unhelpful map. I mean, am I crazy? You described it. I should have been paying attention to their names, see where Murdoch was. At least they're playing the lottery while they're doing hard time.
I'm not afraid of you.
I mean, unless the prison is vertically oriented, and he means north, but when he said right, I guess I wouldn't put it past him.
You can hate me if you want, and your own luck too.
It occurs to me that we don't have a plan to rescue the Majamel brothers. Well, Gerard Majamel. And his traveling companion. Alright, that's Evan who misses the city. Oh, and the guy's on the second floor, so we gotta... This is on me, don't need to check the first floor. That better be Murdoch back in the corner. I've got a gun. Well, Natan's got guns. Oh, that's Peck. Okay, yeah. They're using a curious definition of the word right, which is not how I would have ever considered it. Any thought yet about who your endgame party will be? Ah, man. That's harder in New World than it is in Covenant. It's very easy in Covenant. At least it was easy for me. Mao will not be in the active party. As soon as we can ditch her, she'll be gone. And I don't even know how much of her side quest we will bother with. Probably Johnny. Because, you know, if nothing else, I've yet to sing the variety of folk songs and shanties with Johnny as the main character. So he'll have to be in the party for my own artistic pursuits. Obviously Shania, because she's the main character. I like Natan. I don't recall how his skills scale up late game, but he's usually in the running. I like Frank a lot. I have a weakness for Frank, so probably Shania, Johnny, Frank, and very likely Ricardo. Spoiler, Ricardo is going to be joining the party. I mentioned that last time.
Protecting what is important to you. That is everything.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. It's not as straightforward because we don't have... There's no dedicated caster character, at least that I remember. Ricardo is like the closest you get as the bard of the party, and, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but he still brings enough teeth to the fight to be worth the time. So, yeah, with the change to the casting system of being the crest maps, and just, you know, give them to whoever you want, that goes a long way towards making sure that everyone can hold their own in fights a bit more. And Frank is just amusing. You better be Murdoch. Yeah, who are you? He's a shipper? Okay, I mean, Johnny's way too young for that, but I think Shania and Frank have a future together. I have a message from Mr. Smith. We carry out the plan in 5 days. Hot dog! All right. The old man finally feels like getting back into gear. He's a suitor. Also, I was told to ask you about the breakers. Right, tit for tat, huh? And I should get a lot of tat for what I've got to give. All I know are the amps of the switches on the first row. From the left to right, they should be assigned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I would have assumed that by default. Left to right, 1 through 6. Okay, easy, done. I better remember that. Also, the message from Smith can be passed on to Peck 2 in the left block, second floor. Oh, oh, God. Okay, and we've established that this is the right block, by which they mean north. So the left block must be to the south. I don't think we're gonna get to the boss in the next 20 minutes. I think we're gonna be just gearing up for that. I'm not sure if I like this more or less than, like, a dungeon which is just genuinely a labyrinth, with, like, lots of actual backtracking and dead ends and exploration. Having just, like, a four-room dungeon that you just have to pass messages between prisoners of love is... I'm not sure. I don't know. It's not how I would have done it. I'll say that. Yeah, exactly. Like, I get that, like, they're having me do errands because they're doing me a favor. Sure, I don't expect the carcerally inclined to just, you know, help me out of the goodness of their heart. You didn't get sent to Alcatraz during the height of the mob era for having a good heart. But, like, the guards are gone. They've fled, or Johnny murdered them. It really seems like they could, you know, they could just talk this out amongst themselves. Okay, is Peck... I feel like he's the guy up on this side. But they definitely could be just yelling back and forth. That would not hurt them. Oh, wait, that's Chronal. Yeah. 5 years. Yeah. Phil Leotardo up here talking about his 20 years.
Just let me drink in peace.
They're all spread out. Do we have anything hard hit from... Oh, there's only 3 of them. No, it's not so bad. Yeah, I got. It's like, yeah, it's an open concept prison, right? Like, they saw me lead a group of armed warriors, in the traditional sense of the word, into a federal prison, murder at least a dozen guards that they saw, and now we have the run of the place and they're fighting monsters. Like, I haven't done hard time on the federal level, but I feel like, based on the unspoken bylaws of prison, we're in charge now, that's just how it is. Okay, you know, we've got Al Capone following us. Yeah, hang on. Forget about our street cred. We're escorting Al Capone. He should just be like, hey, yo, guys, tell him the information, or else I'll remember that you didn't. And the answer should be, oh, yes, Mr. Capone, right away. Just because the guards were not supposed to give him special treatment doesn't mean that the inmates weren't aware of, you know, who he was. To say nothing of the fact that several of the people in his cell block were his direct employees. Okay, was Peck the guy on the... That's... Okay, that's Evan. If it wasn't going to use up all of my, you know, like, an entire curative item's worth of MP, I'd be hitting with the vacuum just for the sake of hitting him with a vacuum. You know what? If I'm going to use that much MP anyway. Johnny, give us some combo magic. Oh, right. Counts as the same attack. Right, that's fine. Huh. Don't know why. Oh, I don't know why I can't do that as a double. You know what? Doesn't matter. Still gonna hit him with a big spell. The truly insulting thing about this sequence is not the prison industrial complex. It is, in fact, that Mao is required in this dungeon. Immediately after this, I believe it's immediately after this, we'll get, like, it'll open up Mao's, like, personal side quest, which involves using Mao specifically to defeat large numbers of enemies, in combat, and this would be like the ideal time to build up a buffer of that, and it's not unlocked yet. Very frustrating. Anyway, Peck the Supplier. It is Peck. What are you guys doing? Either way, you should get the heck out of if you know what's good for you. We need the breakers. You're the person called Peck. If we deliver you a message, we heard you tell us about the breakers. Oh my god. 5 days. Come on. Carried away. I know the second row of breakers from the left, they went something like... Oh, okay, that's okay. The first is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The second is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From the left, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Direct inverse. Barracus. He's locked up in isolation somewhere by the sewer. Wait, we have to go back? All the way to the sewer? We'll use the save point in Capone's anyway. At least we shouldn't get lost. Yeah, we can catch that on our way back. Oh yeah, one of these guys. Barracus the Outlaw. I have a message from Mr. Smith. Yada yada. Come on. Plan will be carried out in 5 days. Just explain basic electronics to us, my dude. Third row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the left. Okay, and it cycles back. Who wired this place? Yeah. No one has escaped. No one has ever been able to leave the cell block. We will never see Gerard Majamel again. He's stuck here.
I'll show you what fighting is all about.
I will say, talking about the interior design of Alcatraz, this is a very generic prison that they've used. This is not quite accurate. The ceilings were higher. There's also missing on the side walls, overlooking the cell block proper. There was a gun gallery, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It was a fenced off, secure gallery. And like the second over third floor overlook, where armed guards could watch with guns in the event of prisoners getting a bit frisky, and then shoot them. That is the expected end to that statement. Okay, we're back at the switchboard. The times were hard and the wages low, so leave her, Johnny. Leave her. We've got. I wrote down the sequence. Hopefully I wrote down it correct. Let's give it a shot. Top row. We want 15 amps, and it's 1 through 6. We'll leave the first one, the number 1, down, and throw the rest of them. Wait, did this summon to the guards? Guys, we're trying to fix the power! I mean, okay. I don't know why they still have their batons equipped. There's monsters in the halls.
Even if you drink, don't get drunk. So it's your fault.
I don't mind that random encounter. That's easy. Line them up. I'll knock them down.
I wonder if that was too much power.
Wait, well that was... No, that was one... Hang on. Alright, what was the sequence again? The power on the switches is set from 1 to 6. We know that. If the total power and the number on the right match, it'll work. That was added up to 16. What do you want? Oh wait, no, that's not how math works. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I forgot how math works. I was like, wait, no. I don't know why. I thought, you know what? Never mind. Okay, so 15. Yeah, final 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's on me. That's not game design. I'm just I've been fighting Lovecraftian monsters for too long, and I got loopy. Okay, this one was reverse order. First is 6, last is 1 for 7 amps. Okay. And this again was 1 to 6, and so 4. Skip over 5 and 6. Okay. We have the power. Also the touch. Okay, so it's almost 9 o'clock. Do I want to do... I mean, there's obviously a boss fight. There's going to be a whole bunch of cutscenes. I kind of want to do the boss fight, but I think there's going to be there's going to be like 20 minutes of cutscenes, and it's going to be tragic, and we're going to, you know... Because Edna Capone's going to run... I think we're going to... You know what? I think we're going to save that for the next time, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and get healed up and save our game for the last time in Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary. And we, like the Birdman, will make our escape in about a week's time. And, yeah, I believe this door is going to go directly into cutscenes, and then boss fight, and then more cutscenes. That's kind of how this goes. Which means we should be getting my favorite part, well, second favorite party member next week as well, which I am excited about. And in the meantime, thank you all for you know, helping me keep my sanity going through the interminable you know, message-passing Mean Girls quest of the Birdman of Alcatraz and his associates. We will pick up here, same time next week. We'll get right into the mix of it. Johnny is definitely going to be like a public enemy after this, because that's... I think we're up to 24 murdered federal employees. And, like, we're not even going to be able to blame most of those on the monsters. It didn't help that we took their pictures. For now, though, I think that is going to be it for the evening. Thank you, as ever, for joining us. Yeah, what's that spiel, my criminal cats? Y'all take... Oh, that might work. We might stick with that one. I'll mull it over. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining. I will hopefully catch you next time. Take care of yourselves. Failing that, take care of each other. And it's election day tomorrow. Go vote. And I will see you in the next one.